Okay, great. This is Rita Carr, Chair of the Nantucket Historical Commission, calling to order the August 15th, 2025 meeting of the Historical Commission to order at 10:02 a.m. This meeting is being video and audio recorded and is being conducted in a hybrid format, in person and via Zoom. So please take care to not share your screen unless it's something you want to be captured by the recording. Please permit me to confirm that all commission members are present and can hear me. So in person, we have Betsy Tyler, Angus McLeod,
Good morning.
George Butterworth,
Good morning.
and on Zoom, we have Abby DeMolina. Abby, can you hear me?
Sorry, I was muted. Hi, good morning.
Great, and that is all for now. Great, so we have a quorum. Welcome, Betsy.
Thank you very much.
And our new commission member, Barbara Halstead, I believe will be joining us shortly. All right, is there any, and then we have Polly Backus, Preservation Planner here. So is there any public comment for items not listed on the agenda? No, doesn't appear to be. Great. So next up we have the election of officers for this next year.
I would make a motion to keep Rita as chair.
Second.
Yeah, I'd second. I don't know if anyone else seconded.
Thank you. On that motion, Angus,
Aye.
Betsy,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
and Abby,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Can I make a motion for vice chair,
If you'd like.
keeping Angus?
Right.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, so on that motion, George,
Aye.
Aye.
Betsy, Angus,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. And then for secretary,
I'll make a motion to keep Abby as secretary.
do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Does that work for you, Abby? All right, so on that motion, Angus,
Aye.
Betsy,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well.
And I just want to plug in a thank you to Abby because she's not only doing this commission's minutes, but she's also doing the CLG's minutes. So thank you, Abby.
Yeah, thank you. And yes, and I didn't include those CLG minutes for approval by us in this meeting just because I had done the agenda before I got them, but we'll approve those next month. And thank you.
Yeah, I think, Rita, last time we approved them at the next CLG meeting. So if we did one in the winter, we could theoretically approve them then.
Technically, actually,
For open meeting law,
open meeting
yeah.
law, each commission, and it's weird. So each commission has to approve them separately.
Oh, okay.
But yes, you are right. You also did effectively approve them again, the same exact ones at the last CLG meeting. So maybe I guess maybe moving forward, we'll just have them on there with the dates that each board had approved it on. It just says more.
Yeah. Whatever. We're caught up now.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Abby.
Thanks, Abby.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a staff update. Holly, is there anything besides
Yes.
what we have on the agenda?
So, I know Angus knows what I'm probably gonna say, but, something that, we've been waiting for. So MHC, they're understaffed, like a lot of us are. However, they finally got our last fiscal year's, surveys up on Macris.
Amazing.
So we have that's 39 in Brant Point, and those include either new ones or updated ones. And then we have 98 new ones in fish lots, and that pretty much wraps up the fish lots. But I wanted to also mention that any of the old 88, 89 surveys that they had on Macris are still included in the file. They're just at the end. What they don't have with Macris is any of the older ones that are at plus, even though our consultants had them. MHC obviously then never blessed them and put them on their database to begin with, so they're not going to do that. But I think from a record keeping purposes, we're still going to internally keep if that makes any sense. So good news on that. And that's pretty much what I wanted to bring up.
Wonderful. Exciting news. Thank you,
Yes,
Holly.
thank you.
Okay, great. That brings us to a repeat application for a historic rehabilitation tax credit letter of support for 89 Easton Street. We're joined here by
Both owner and.
yeah the owner and our agent from Epsilon, so Bill Murphy and Brian Lever. Thank you both for making the time to join us today. Before we go to any commissioner questions or comments, are there anything you'd like to speak to with the repeat request?
No, nothing unusual. Certainly it is. Oh, sorry. Good morning. My name is Brian Lever. I'm from Epsilon Associates. I'm here with William Murphy, who's the owner of 89 Easton Street. There have been no changes to the project. It's continuing to proceed. Looks like it will be wrapping up soon, and we're just trying to get one additional application into the state.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions or concerns?
So there are just no changes to the previous application. And one thing that I did notice, so since I've served on the HTC, there was an application for the drive down driveway retaining walls, and there was an approval for stone for the veneer, and there's brick there. Do you care to comment on that?
Bill, do you have any comments on that?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. The original application had brick on the driveway, and that was what was approved. And it was built that way. Then the subsequent application for the landscaping, comments were made about the brick, and somebody suggested that we put stone on it. What I'd, just to bring you up to date, what I'd prefer to do is to finish the landscaping and get all of the landscaping in such that people can view it from the North Avenue. I presume that's the spot where you're asking about, and see how it fits in with the rest of the house at that point. And if not, if it's not acceptable, we'll go ahead and make the change. But it was originally built the way it was approved.
Thank you, Bill, for that.
Okay. Great, are there any other questions? All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I would make a motion to continue our support with a support letter.
Thank you, Angus. Is there a second?
Second,
Great. Angus on your motion?
Aye.
George?
second,
Aye.
Betsy? Abby?
Aye.
Great, and I'm an aye as well, so we'll write up that letter and send that on to you, Brian.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Hi, Julie.
Sorry, my intern's participating.
Love that.
The
We get to
intern.
love men.
I get
Yeah.
younger every year.
Yeah.
All right, so next we had a review of a draft letter of support for the application of this concept trust to the Community Preservation Committee for their repair work on or restoration work on Sankaty Lighthouse. Did anyone have any issues with the letter that was included in the packet? It's pretty general, straightforward.
Thank you for writing the letter. I had a couple of a few typos.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I
to-
was writing it last night, so.
In the third line,
Mhm.
Sconset Trust, I would put has been and admirable.
The trust as a singular
word?
entity. I went back and forth on that.
Yeah, steward, and then continuing on, when it instead of they. And then the next line, down, they at the end would just be the trust,
Mhm.
previously received CPC. The, the the intention of the letter is clear and well written. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments?
Happy to see this.
Yeah, great. I'm excited with the work that the trust is continuing to do for the lighthouse. So I think we already had a motion to write this letter, so I think just I'll make those changes and then I don't think we need
Great.
another motion. Great. Great, okay. Yes.
Just to follow up on that, I had sent you some of the additional information.
Yes. Yes, so we received that and then felt comfortable moving forward with the letter. Okay, great. So next we have the Civil War Monument repair. Oh, hi Barbara, thanks for joining us. Just for the noting for the record that Barbara Halstead has joined the meeting. Barbara, can you hear us?
There you go.
Okay, wonderful. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Okay, so we have the Civil War Monument repair. We heard from Michael Harrison of the Nantucket Historical Association last month, who provided a list of highly qualified potential consultants who could do additional work potentially to improve the appearance of the monument. I've noticed in the past month also that the two boxwood had little bushes that are in front of where the curbing was replaced have appear to be dying, and all the other ones look fine. George, did you notice that also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The two right where the repairers are both dead.
Yes. So I was hoping that Drew Patton might be able to join us at this meeting. I know Holly reached out to him, but it's a very busy time for everybody. So not seeing him, I guess we hold this off for another month or at this point.
Well, one of the things, so I did reach out to him, I sent him an email, I also sent him a link to the last meeting. But I also, remember that I was gonna receive a list of specific concerns that the commission had. So I can send that to him, I think
Okay.
that would be helpful, and I did mention that, there were a list of things.
Yeah.
So if that could be done, and I'll follow up with him. Like I said, I did mention, hey, this meeting is coming up, and, this is a concern, we wanna see. And I think one of the things too is, what Mary had brought up last month about how unfortunately these things for our historic resources that town owns are within right of ways, and there is that potential for the continuous of vehicles hitting them. How can we be more proactive in not only preventing it, like we had talked about with meridian stones, but also being proactive with best management practices, hopefully for future fixes. Again, this was a insurance issue. They really just the insurance company said, here, this is who we're aiming. Happened before.
True.
So yes.
Okay, so I will write up that list based on our previous conversations that we've had, and send that to you for talking to through. Okay, great, and hopefully we can come to some sort of solution for this. Okay, next on the agenda is a update on our historic resource surveys.
Yes.
From Holly.
So one, I just mentioned about fiscal 23 done. So happy to have those now available on the GIS through the Macros. Anybody doesn't know how to get that, click on the MHC inventory layer, you'll see the triangles. And then you'll see, basically click on those and you'll be able to see the new ones. Then we have one, you all know that I had applied for the wind farm funding with the town's bucket of money. And so that was specifically under our survey. plan to tackle town-owned historic resources that are scattered throughout the islands. There's not actually one geographic area for them, so it's really difficult to have a outside consultant with the MHC process to do that. As well as any of the continuation sheets for those properties that we've been running into, say for like Grant Point area, where we know this particular structure has a old HDC survey on file with Macris, but we know it's gone. It got moved somewhere. So we need to codify them, if you will, with a continuation sheet. That's what that funding is for. Procurement is, on my end, is done. So right now they're just waiting. They've got it in the ether of potential applicants. So once I get told, then we can move forward, hopefully, in getting that started. Honestly, I think one, if the wind farm funding is something that's going to continue, which I hope it is, they're just like CPC, whereas they want to have preservation effort, preservation bucket. That's the whole reason why we're in it to begin with, because it's Section 106 in the National Historic Preservation Act. But I would basically, I'm mentioning that I would like to use CPC as well as the wind farm funding as continual efforts. And I say that because we don't know where the fiscal 26 historic preservation funding at the national level is going to be. We know that there's some potential changes to that and cutting that funding in half, probably even more. And that's everything across the board, from the National Park Service to the state historic preservation offices. So I don't know where that's gonna go. That leads me to our last fiscal 23, where we had RFPs out. Nobody met the qualifications. I have since revised it. I have not heard back from MHC. MHC is understaffed. As you all know, we had Jen Doherty. Now she's a preservation planner with Barrett Consulting. And Barrett's the one who actually is doing Nantucket's master plan, which is a good thing. She has been able to work on that aspect for our master plan. But on the bad thing, nobody's been able to replace her position at the state level. So I've reached out to MHC's deputy SHPO, and I haven't heard anything.
Okay. So, and where does that stand in terms of procurement with the town? Like, do you have to get feedback from MHC before you can move
Yes,
forward?
and the reason why is because of the lag time of putting a request out and receiving non-responsive applicants and then doing it again. I had to extend, or with the grace of the state, we had to extend our contract with the state. So we currently have our contract with the state on the grant.
Yeah.
That expires next month. So in order for us to continue, the state needs to continue that first. From a procurement perspective, it makes no sense going through the motions on the actual scope.
Right, if
without
it's going to
extending it.
expire.
So that has to get extended for another year. I do know that from my previous conversations with both Michael and Peter at MHC, that the National Park Service has given the SHPOs, in past at least, the authority to extend them. I mean, at the end of the day, MHC wants to help Nantucket. They're so happy that we're doing this. Again, it all depends on the federal funding, but that funding is there. So
Right, it's already been.
federal, exactly. So
Allocated to this
a
project.
case of having that contract extended, and that's just them providing it to us, and I provide it to procurement. Procurement then has it on the select board's agenda for the town manager to sign, and then it's there you go. Once I get that, then obviously we can continue with the whole solicitation of vendor or proposal on it. But again, I have
Okay, and so when exactly is it like at the end of September?
yes.
Okay, so September 30th. Is there anything we can do as a commission or that I can do as chair to help move that? Like,
You could as
if you want to
chair
send
reach
another
out,
email and CC me and then I could follow up, or?
yeah, to Michael.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because that's, you have the authority to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas in permanent land, the town still do, so.
Okay.
Yes, that needs to be done first, get that done, and then, I also, I sent them the draft with the changes that they said we could do so that we can get it going. And now that I'm learning this whole new OpenGov software, the town procurement, that's been the biggest. So, yes, we'll have good news.
Okay, great. So we'll make sure we're getting that deadline extended so that we can.
Yes.
Yeah, put out another RFQ eventually. And hopefully have some qualified respondents this time.
Right.
Okay, great. That brings us a lot. Did anyone have any questions before we move on?
Having to do with the surveys.
Yes.
I just, I'm not seeing it in the, in the agenda, but the pen presentation was just fabulous. And I know you all were there for it, but it's exciting that things are moving forward, and thank you for all your assistance for
That was
them.
great, yeah.
That was invaluable.
On the agenda with CPC, that's where I was gonna touch about it.
Okay.
the next item. So the next round is due September 5th. I've talked to Clary this week. And yes, thank you, Betsy, for all you've been doing, working and teaching the students. I know you've been down the registry of deeds quite a bit.
Many hours there,
That's
yeah.
awesome. I missed him. The proposal is going to be continue working in the West Monomoy area. And that will actually create the forms. So Form A and Form Bs. My understanding is about 250 approximately, probably I think narrowed down to that amount. And I mentioned to Clary that, at the end of the day, like when we were going through the motions and creating our survey plan, and we pinpointed to the fish lots as the pilot, well, where I feel about it is that the West Monomoy New Guinea has been more of a pilot from the fact of you're doing the recon first, doing the history documentation first in order to do the actual forms.
Yeah.
Whereas there was a lot of work that was already done, really, with the fish lots from work that you've done, MPT's done over the years, even some HABs, and PIN years ago. So that really wasn't necessarily the pilot, because I think there was already stuff already done. So I think moving forward, we're gonna get into neighborhoods that don't have a lot of that recon survey done. And I think moving forward, we're gonna have to have this plan. Now, I think in the future, hopefully, if stuff shapes up at the federal level with funding, we could, yes, use the MHC as because of our CLG status as continued funding. But we have the green light with CPC. They were very supportive of this. So we're going to continue. That's going to be one. And then the other one is going to be within our survey plan, we identified historic farms. And that's something that Clary and everybody at PIN have been talking about moving forward with that. I know that's something that they started last summer on doing that. They went around the island with them and toured a lot of places. And you all remember that we put in the 1850s farm map. And that's just a basic. I mean, I refer to it quite a bit when I'm doing work, but we know that there are some general areas that need to be pinpointed in these structures. So a lot of the outbuildings too, and we're seeing that. I think, Angus, you can speak to it, the outbuildings that seem to either A, they've been moved already, or B, there's just no history about them whatsoever, and then all of a sudden we're seeing it as a proposed demo. And it's like, oh, I want to know more about that building, and not just because, somebody doesn't want it anymore. So anyway, so those are going to be the two on that. The other one I'm working on is in the HDC Plus office, we have large aerials from the 35 flyover. And these things have traveled wherever HDC has been, and they're huge. I think in the past, there was an effort to try to have them scanned and redone. However, this is going to be a scan, so they're digitized and they're available on the town's website, as well as I plan on speaking with Niles and NHA and seeing if they can actually be the repository for them, and then also have them on their database. Because I think in the past, there was some aerials that were provided from the town to NHA, and some of them are on the website. You'll see when you're researching in their database that it says courtesy of the town of Nantucket. We're just gonna wanna have the funding done, so it's done appropriately. And this is kind of piggybacking on the effort that the town's been working on with the HDC and plus records that are being digitized right now. I wanted needed to do it, and it's a good preservation effort, plus I want to work with NHA, so that's the goal there. And then, again, survey areas, I do think CPC is the track for survey areas. I don't know, we all lined out in the survey plan, where the high priority is. So I don't know what that would look like, but there's that. And then, I guess I'll say this now, on an administrative component, I'm actually gonna be putting in a request, which I have, the planning director and the deputy director's approval on this to work on building this for my consultant. But I will also be applying for that.
Okay.
I have a question. Has anybody ever considered scanning and digitizing the deeds that are not in the registry database?
At that conversation.
Yes. we
Because
talked
they
about
are
this a lot.
so well used and delicate. I
Yeah.
worry that we're gonna lose
That's a
them.
county thing.
Right.
Yes, we talked about this actually about a year ago when the CPC application deadline was coming up, I think, and Jen at the registry said then that it is in their list of priorities to have that digitized, and at the time she was saying they're looking to potentially switch software that they use, and at which point
At the state level?
like through the county,
Yeah.
through, like different counties use different,
Yeah.
softwares for that, so they were looking into potentially switching, and at that point, they would probably, that would be when the other what
Yeah.
105 through 58, or,
Yeah.
when those would be digitized,
Okay.
so,
Well, good.
yes.
I'm glad it's being discussed.
Yes, and I reached out specifically to talk about funding, and he
Mhm.
said, no, they wouldn't need any
Well,
additional funding for that, so.
It's in their hands.
great. I hope they move along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Awesome.
yeah, same thought. Okay, great, and so, sorry,
I would love for letters of support to continue on the CPC stuff with Penn. Letters of support. I think that put that in the application.
great, yeah. And I had a question though, just regarding, PIN and the production of Form Bs. I know in the past, we know from, previous, respondents to RFQs being deemed not qualified by the MHC, they have very strict standards. And is that just when it's MHC funding? Because I don't think the PIN students,
Oh, right.
Would
The
meet
students
those
aren't
qual-
actually going to do the forms.
the
Right.
students
They've
are not
gathered
actually
the
going to do
information
it.
and Cleary and Erica are
Correct.
gonna do the form.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
good to know. Okay,
And then there is going to be, we're gonna have a meeting with MHC, which, that's something that I told Clary, I gotta, hopefully I get a response on that, but basically the intention is to make sure, one, we establish a set of BMPs on what they're looking for, not just in their format, but also how, we all know, for instance, when we have, looked at the fish lot stuff and the ramp point stuff, there were certain Nantucket isms, if you will, that we requested to retain. For instance, the roof. They the first go around, they're like, why are you putting the roof material on here? I'm like, that's something Nantucket looks for. There were just certain little things that we, over time, have added to the Form Bs.
Right, the
which
use
are-
of typical Nantucket.
Exactly, typical Nantucket vernacular,
Type
yeah,
2 fence, yeah.
type 2, all that kind of stuff. So they're gonna have to be involved anyways, because at the end of the day, MHC is gonna have to bless them in order for them to, just like
Yeah,
us
right,
commissioners,
to be-
just like when we were doing it with PAL.
Yeah,
They-
so we'll have the opportunity to
Exactly.
review and
Yes.
give comments and,
Yes. Yes.
add additional information or,
Yes.
yeah.
But
Okay.
I do know that that's something we're wanting to establish is a set of BMP. With them for specifically for Nantucket, and my conversations with Clary, and obviously, looking at other municipalities in the country, Massachusetts is very complex. We've gone from windshield surveys, the old HDC surveys, to very, very detailed architectural and social history, which is a good thing, but it's labor intensive.
Sure is.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Preaching to the choir over here. So, it's gonna be a good thing, but I do think CPC, as long as they'll continue, blessing this commission and the efforts that we're doing, which I think they will, I think this is the way to go, especially how we don't know where the federal.
What goes into the social history, of these structures or?
Well,
Right?
there's a narrative history that's part of Form B. There's a narrative architectural section and a history section. And the history section speaks to all the owners of the property over time with biographical information and social context, and just, it's very
Detailed
it's very
and
detailed.
also very expensive to do.
Yes, yes, it is.
I've done it on a couple of houses as a hobby, but it takes time.
Right, I had no idea that the students would be able to do as much as they did this summer because it's so labor intensive, but each of them had 20 houses to document. And they did a fabulous job.
Mm.
But yeah, many hours spent.
You find things you don't expect about the details of the owner's divorce and battles back and forth over the property and stuff. I was doing some gift for somebody. I left that part out.
It's interesting looking, it's not just the built environment, it's also when you look at the built environment, knowing that social history, it really takes you a step back, and you can, for me anyway, I really appreciate that whole like streetscapes concept when you look at it that regard. I remember doing that when I was interning at NPT long ago with Pat Butler.
Yeah.
Looking at Main Street and just understanding all the ownerships and the complexity of like the Starbucks, for instance.
The cousins,
And the
yes.
cousins, and
Yeah.
the brothers and the sisters and who they married, and it's just really cool. And to think that Main Street is just a microcosm of that, really truly.
And so many streets are family oriented,
Yes.
you know.
Mhm.
You have to be able to research the genealogy, which is also tricky,
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
that's,
as we know.
I carried around on my phone, so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun,
It brings so much more meaning to each application to have that social
yes.
aspect.
Yes.
Yeah. My only question about this, the pin surveys, was the process and the protocol, if we were gonna go through the same process of that being produced and then us reviewing it and sending it on to MHC, and it sounds like it's all the same.
Yes.
Great.
The goal is to stay consistent.
Great. I do think that local knowledge in the review is key.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. So, do we need a motion to write letters of support for these, couple of projects?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Angus.
Second,
All right, motion made by Angus, seconded by Betsy. Angus on your motion?
Aye.
Betsy?
aye.
George?
I
Abby?
Aye.
And Barbara?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Great. So I think that goes to you. Next on the agenda, the National Alliance of Preservation Commission Summer Short Course, August 20th and 21st. Webinar.
Yes.
Holly, you have details on that?
Yes, so you all have received emails, hopefully directly from NAPC I need to get you on. But let me put a note to, contact, so back up for the benefit of Betsy and, Barbara, we are certified local government, the National Park Service, and with our, membership, the state also paid for, through the CLG, our membership with the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions, NAPC, and NAPC, we've also did our review and has done some trainings. They every other year they do a forum where you go in person, and myself and my colleague Nikki in the office got to go to Florida last year, which was wonderful because it's so different than any other like National Trust conference. This is geared towards staff and preservation commissions, which is fantastic. And then on the opposite year, so this would be their opposite year, they do a course, and it's an online course. And as NAPC members, we get a discounted rate. So for us, the coupon is $65. And if for those of you that may be AICP or AI certified, you can actually get continuing education credit. So I was trying to push that with our commissioners on the HTC that may be AI. So that way, there's an incentive there. But through our CLG, education is key. And for me, I'm always trying to push that information. I know other commissioners trying to push, education. And just because I asked doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen. But within our yearly report that I have to do to the state on the CLG, I try to indicate any of the training. So, for instance, throughout the year, if Rita, Angus, and the Abby, you all do a really good job of letting me know some of the webinars that you attend. All of you, please do that because I'll try to indicate that within our report. I do a generic, but I could say, X amount of members attended these things. So in this month, on the 20th and 21st, they're having their virtual summer short course, and so 2 days. But these topics are really key to local governments. So one of them is about understanding and updating our local preservation ordinances, which in that case would be our special act. Be a little bit different for us, but I think it's important for HTC members to listen to that. And then another one is about the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation. I think both commissions would benefit of that. And that next one is selecting your preservation priorities. What is the essential and what can be, where you can be more flexible. And then there's also best practices for procedures for issuing COAs, staff reports. So I'm really interested in that one. Then there are what are your tools within historic preservation, conservation districts, easements, zoning, and others. And then community outreach. I think, in Massachusetts, a lot of historical commissions, they're the ones that are doing a lot of the education and public outreach, right? Whereas I think we're a little unique here. We don't necessarily have to do that because of folks in NPC, being our kind of our nonprofit arm. I think, that partnership, I think is important. In other jurisdictions, all they have are the historical commissions. So, I don't know, it's just a great effort to have education. This is in addition to any of the webinars that the state SHPO office, MHC would provide. Again, they're understaffed, so I don't think they're really doing that right now. But NAPC is the way to go. And one of the cool things about them, when they send out their notice for webinars and you apply your little coupon code and you get your notification. If, for instance, you cannot attend for one of their webinars, they will actually send you when it's completed, their actual YouTube video, as well as the documents that they provide. So you can actually, learn on your own on demand.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
what's the timing of these? Is it?
This one is specifically on the 20th and the 21st. And there's on there
Like all day.
Yeah,
Time
it's a
to
kind of
get-
an all day thing. They break it up.
Mhm.
This is completely different than any of their throughout the year webinars where they'll just be an hour and a half. And that's it. This is an actual real course.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas the other ones are usually free. This one is a little bit discounted.
And you can watch this after the fact. right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was gonna be my question. A lot of the webinars you can watch afterwards. What about these courses? If there's, one specific thing or another, would we have access to that, or do we need to sign up for the classes?
I think you have to sign up for the classes in order to be able to get that out. Yes. That's how they typically do that.
Yep.
And one of the cool things about NAPC, you know, they've been around for about 40 years. They are the education arm for Preservation Commission. This is what they do. They help us at the local. So I will make sure that Betsy and Barbara have the emails.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Forward them on to you, and then I will also make sure that the state has them. NPC folks are great, and one of the cool things, you will see trainers, some of them have already been to Nantucket for certain other things. As we know, the preservation world is very small, the subject matter experts, or that's what they are, they're subject matter experts, so it's really cool to say, hey, recognize that trainer, they've been here for X, Y, and Z, so. Maybe you'll find them from all over the country. But please, if you don't get emails from NAPC directly, please let me know and I can post that as well.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks, Holly. Next up on the agenda is commission goals. So, Abby, do you want to screen share for this? Perhaps Abby.
No, I'm coming.
Okay.
Sorry, it takes me a minute to, I'm simultaneously attempting to feed child, so it can be a little hectic. But I did put the updated version in the packet.
Oh, okay. So,
I can share it if you want.
So if you want to share it, I can just make any edits to it, but
Okay, I will do that.
okay, great.
yeah, usually I do it after the fact, but since I was updating everything, I was able to.
It's, yes.
Hold on, let me just make sure. Let me see.
Okay, great. Could you maybe zoom out, Holly, a bit, just a little? Okay, perfect. So in terms of goals, at the very top, grants, MHC grants, we can update that to say MHC, you know, they're uploaded onto Macris, that's great. Maybe for fiscal year, the next line, fiscal year 2023, we can say, awaiting extension from Massachusetts Historical Commission with a key date of 9/30 for that. Yeah, I haven't had any updates on the Meridian stones and where things stand with, especially the Fair Street stone. I haven't noticed any, anything for that. So, maybe with, outreach to DPW in terms of the Civil War monument, we can also figure out where things stand in terms of, replacing those lally columns on Fair Street. I feel like there's not really any updates on the sewer force main. I assume, Holly, that's starting back up again in the fall with
I
additional.
think so. I haven't touched base with David, but like I said, he's usually good about reaching out to me when there's anything of our pertinence to it.
Okay. And we're still sort of status quo with the Park Service grants, I'm sure of where things stand with that federal funding. I ongoing advising the town on preservation items, that nothing new there. Section 106 review, we haven't had anything new. Do you know of anything coming down the pike, Holly, or?
Locally, I do for road projects.
Okay.
That is, so one in particular will be Winnet's bike path.
Okay.
That was a discussion, and my understanding is that's going to be a federally funded project because of the lighthouse. And Mike Burns said that the people that are handling that consultant process will let us know.
Okay.
Yeah, and they'll touch base with me more than likely before they do their PNF form is required to go to the state.
Okay.
So, we help them in that, and then, they will be, letting us know more in depth with the Tom Nevers one when that gets, of course, that's town. They don't necessarily, unless they have to handle the state, they really have to do section 106, but obviously they want us included. And I hope that, you know, the commission really feels that Mike's being very open. He wants that line of communication, and I love it. So
What about the, any other road things like the, Nobody Farm Road and Milestone
yeah,
Rotary?
that was another one that's gonna, and that would be state. So yes, that would definitely trigger section 106. Where that stands, I don't know. Of course,
Because I think it was,
let me know.
what, maybe March or April when we
Yeah.
met with Mike on
Yeah,
the,
those are
and we're on
preliminaries.
those, yeah,
It was
conceptual
both-
plans.
Both of the existing rotary and the proposed.
Yeah,
Just as they're progressing, it'd be nice to sort of keep tabs on it.
for sure. Yes.
Actually, on that point, I just wanted to jump in. Angus, that's a good point you brought up. As part of the MP and EDC, those come through. And so I was hoping that we could have more regular participation from our commission at the at the MP and EDC.
Yeah.
So I was gonna have Holly come at least quarterly, but I think if any of these come up in between that quarterly timeframe, I'd love for, you know, Rita, you or Angus or both of you guys to come as well, just so when Mike is like presenting, because he'll do the presentation of the review, but it would be great to have someone from the commission as well talk about it, and they can talk about, because the last time I like just said, hey, this is what we talked about at our meeting, but I'd love for it to be a little more formal, like have the chair from the commission talk and just talk about any of the stuff that has come up with any of those reviews, if you guys think that works.
Thanks, Abby. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Okay, so as it comes up on agendas, I'll just make sure to keep you guys in the loop, but I want to have like I said, Holly come at least once a quarter and she'll talk about like overall historic stuff. But like I said, in addition, I think these specific reviews, it's important to like, I could say like, hey, we talked about, but it's great for you guys to kind of directly advocate and bring up these things. Cause a lot of times I feel like at a forum like that, not everybody on the commission will necessarily know what we talked about. So for you guys to say like, hey, you know, landscaping, for instance, when we were talking about the milestone project, making sure there was a lot of like native plantings, things like that, like just making sure that everybody on the commission hears it from us of these are the things that we think about, I think is important. So,
That sounds great. Yeah, thank you, Abby.
cool.
On road projects, I was curious about, you know, how we had that huge discussion on the Pleasant Street project, and then they plowed ahead with just giving up half the roadway to it. And then when that kind of blew up and people were very unhappy about that, there's been no further effort. They still need some kind of a sidewalk, even if it were like really low key. Do you know the section of Main Street in front of the ancient house?
Oh, where it's just dirt.
Where all the sidewalk is a little dirt path. Even if we had that behind the split rail fence, so people had a chance to walk along that street without getting killed, without making it like 6 feet wide or 10 feet wide for both bikes and people. But it was sort of when Mike Burns presented to us, we discussed 3 different things, and he came up with 800 reasons why there was only one option that was possible. We were kind of open to the other 2 options, but anyway, so it's right back the way it used to be, which is if you try to walk there, you'll take your life in your hands.
Sure.
But
That's at the select board level, I think. Right
Yeah, because it was the select board's decision to terminate that pilot, you know, the one-way pilot,
Yep.
early.
now. I'm sure Mike will keep you posted, and I'll let you all know. We're getting more. That.
But it is one of the most dangerous stretches as a pedestrian to try to negotiate. I walked it once, so, okay. The only way you can walk is the cars very politely, one lane will stop for you, because they
Right.
know that you
They're gonna
can't have
kill
2
you.
lanes of cars plus people.
Yeah. Treacherous, for sure. Okay, then next line we had updating the MOU. I feel like that is kind of just gone by the wayside. I don't know if that even needs to be on this list anymore. Historic tax credit, applications, no new requests, but we did, review 89 Easton again. Building with Nantucket in mind, maybe this can just have a note about, the application for CPC funding, to review building with Nantucket in mind. Continuing education, we can update that about the short course. And then the community education, the NARA workshop in October, that is, as far as we know, still on track to happen. All right, okay, moving forward. Oh, I will say there's another community education initiative happening with Remain for building deconstruction and materials reuse that is going to be happening in September on September 12th and 13th. There's going to be 2 sessions that are both the same sort of day-long workshops with lunch included about deconstruction techniques and sort of the circular economy and what can we do with how can we repurpose these materials, what are the different waste streams that, like, how can we divert materials being taken out of deconstructed buildings, how can we divert those from just going into the landfill. So like I said, those are September 12th and 13th. It's Remain in partnership with the community school and Boston Building Resources, who are a deconstruction and reuse, outfit based in Boston. And there is a registration fee. I think it's $200, but there's also scholarships available. So it's definitely geared more towards tradespeople, but I think a very interesting opportunity. So if you hear of anyone curious about deconstruction, wants to know more, I think it's an exciting opportunity.
Well, with my HDC hat, I feel like that would be invaluable for us to know as much as we can about the reuse of materials when it comes to the point of demolition and deconstruction. I wonder if the town would want to support us participating in that, or if there's some sort of.
Yeah, I mean, I can send out an email to everyone, the whole commission with more details, and maybe we could get it to be made at like announcements at the select board or something, or I don't know if you're not at Remain has already reached out or what exactly, but there's ads running for it, and hopefully people, the word will get out.
Where will it be held?
The community school.
Okay.
No.
On this education and community.
When is that? Hold on, sorry. When's that workshop, Rita?
It's September 12th and 13th, so it's a Friday and a Saturday.
Okay.
And it's happening twice, but it's only a 1-day workshop, so it's the same workshop both days. Yeah, just options for the date.
On the DAR, for those of you who might not know, I'm in the process of becoming a DAR. And when I went to the meeting, I was invited a couple months ago. They realized my position with the town. They asked me to come speak. So, yesterday was the day I got to speak with them at Fairgrounds for their monthly meeting. They just wanted to know, my background and what I do for the town. And it was really great. Again, the fact that preservation is part of their stance in your foundation, if you will, is great. I don't think many people realize that. But one of the cool things, I don't know if you're familiar, most people are, when you drive down Nantucket Road, we have an Abaya Folger Franklin monument. And the Abaya Folger Franklin chapter maintains it. However, my understanding is that it was bought and donated, if you will, to the town from the DAR head chapter. So I've asked the heads of the local chapter to provide some information on that, because if that's the case, then this might also be a town-owned historic resource. That would also be under, kind of our protection, if you will, and it should also be documented. And it should also be obviously protected. So there would probably be more to come on that, but I wanted to let the commission know.
I don't know if they or who paid for it, but somebody bought Abigail Folger a brick on the wall of natives at the Cottage Hospital. You don't have to be born in the hospital, you just have to be born on the island.
Yes,
Somebody bought her brick.
That's really nice.
yes, he's my like 9th grade aunt, something like that. But yes, that was pretty cool. And then, I will just on the NARAB, I will touch base with NARAB to find out, more specifics, and we can work on that.
Yeah, perfect. Great. I'm really glad that's all moving forward.
Yes.
So we've sort of had this long-term goal of talking more about disaster resiliency, a conservation workshop. I know the NHA is having, again this fall, like they did last year, ICCROM is hosting an internationally focused program, bringing heritage professionals from around the world to Nantucket to talk about resiliency issues and material conservation issues, working with Glenn Bornesian, I believe, again. So that is something, and I know, Holly, you presented to the group as part of that last year, and I imagine you will be again.
Yes.
Wonderful.
2 fronts on that in October. One that they will be here for that, so we'll be able to find out more details on it. But what ties into 2 things. One is the Beinecke family is going to be rededicating their little monument that they have at the downtown at the wharf. That's been already vetted and approved with
Jackie.
C through the sign advisory.
Jackie.
And so that will be in October, and that's supposed to correlate with the 300th anniversary of the First Congregational Church, which will be really cool. The town has been notified, town manager, our culture and tourism department, so hopefully there'll be more of a town involvement with this. We're really excited, and of course, Beinecke and I think maybe even NHA, but be a whole kind of event on that.
And
So that
sorry,
will
did you?
be, it'll be in the fall at some point. My understanding is in
exact date yet.
October.
Okay.
I don't know if there's been a set date, but Glenn's kind of spearheading a lot of this for the Beinecke family. And he's supposed to keep me posted, on that. And then 2, no, I don't remember what that was. Right. When, oh, no, this is good. So it goes into the resiliency stuff. Sorry, there's so many things going on. The resiliency stuff. So as you all probably know, my other hat, the town is local hazard mitigation plan coordinator. And we do have FEMA funding. We are going through procurement for that as well. And my point on that is, when we did the last update in 2019, or not that long ago, we touched, literally just braced the surface about our historical and cultural resources. So FEMA has a set of BMPs and, kind of recommendations, if you will, for historic communities when it comes to updating either plan. And that's one thing that I have made sure that it's going to be put in there a little bit better. For instance, out of the HMP, one of the priorities was what created our resilient Nantucket design guidelines. It was a combination of that as well as a recommendation out of the MVP, the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Project. And so we want to kind of continue on that, especially with all the stuff that coastal resiliency is doing. So documentation is a key. This ties in with what yesterday, all know that the harbor plan has been in the works, so they had their public presentation yesterday. That was also a priority out of the HMP, and within the planner, plan. They're all intertwined. You always have a priority. We want that, and that also helps with funding. The harbor plan also talks about how important our updating our cultural resources are. So it all kind of ties in. Once we have our kickoff on the hazard mitigation plan, obviously, the commission will be included with the CLG put together on that front. Any of the few things that we want to move forward, if you will. There've been a lot of priorities, but I think there's more to be done. I take what the CRP had asked for with the street and that whole effort that the commission was included to give an update on. You know, does that look like having our resilient Nantucket design guidelines, have an addendum on it that's specifically geared towards these elevated roadways? This is important. It's kind of like a microcosm of everything kind of smooshed together, but I think it's important that the HMP kind of continues on that lens of historic because of our who we are. So long-winded, but there you go.
Okay, great. And then we are continuing collaboration with other groups in the community. So great. I don't think there's anything necessarily new for that. New for that line. Great. So thank you, Abby, for putting that together as always. And thank you also for writing up the minutes from our June and
No
July.
problem. And just as a note, I was making edits as we were talking. So after the meeting, I'll send out the minutes for this meeting and this updated document so everybody has it.
Amazing. Thank you, Abby.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the edits in progress.
Yes.
All right.
And I'll send those minutes. Sorry, someone's yelling. I'll send those minutes as well.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you, and I'll get them posted.
Okay, so motion to approve the minutes of June and July made by Angus, seconded by George. Angus on your motion.
Aye.
George.
Aye.
Betsy. Aye. Barbara
Aye.
and Abby.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Great, that passes unanimously. Is there any other business?
I just wanted to note, Rita, on the last month, you guys didn't do a motion to adjourn. Just
Oh,
FYI.
Just bolted.
Huh? No, well, I think everybody was like, all right, we'll see you later. And I just wanted to make sure people were aware. So FYI.
I did notice that in the minutes, and I was kind of like, oops. Well, thanks for pointing that out. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, motion made by Betsy. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Betsy on your motion.
Aye.
George.
Aye.
Angus.
Aye.
Barbara.
Aye.
And Abby.
Aye.
I'm aye as well.
All right.
Thank you all very much at 11:05. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
See you all.